How is everybody doing on this Sunday? Hopefully, it's been a really nice Sunday for you guys. Great way to kick off the week. I am very, very excited. I have a plan, a bit of an ambitious one for this week. I am hoping to get a ton of writing done for Taming the Beast. So, just some context. I set myself sort of a due date, a goal to finish drafting Taming the Beast, which is the book I am working on right now. More on that in a second, I promise. So I had a plan to be done with it by the 22nd. That was my goal for drafting, and I have stuck to that for the most part. It has been kind of rocky. Last week was a really slow writing week. But I am also very, very excited to report that I made up for a lot of that in just a couple of days. And I have been doing the math on it, where I am in the book, looking at my outline towards the end of the book. And if I really buckle down and dedicate to writing quite a bit per day, I could finish this book up by the 22nd. So I'm hoping to do that. I'm in a new era of my life. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself these days. So I have not set any firm deadlines. That's why I have not released a publication date for any of my books that I'm planning to release in 2026, because I don't want to hold myself to a hard and fast deadline, because I think that was sort of my downfall in this last year, because I was in a transition period. I was moving out of my previous full-time career in public education and moving into a much more flexible private counseling world where I set my own schedule and as many clients as I would like to take. So in the process of me figuring out the ebb and flow, what I wanted to work, what I really needed financially to work, plus where writing fell into that, it was kind of a lot to juggle and a lot of decisions to be made in the mix. And I think, not that I made the wrong ones, because I'm very happy with where I've landed now, but I feel like I put too much pressure on myself to make the decisions all at once. So I, in 2026, am allowing myself a lot more room for things like that. So yes, I don't have a hard and fast deadline, but I did set myself a goal of finishing drafting on Monday, and I think I will be able to do it. So let me know what you are working on in the comments. I already typed out a little message in there. Like I said, I am working on Taming the Beast, which is the first in a duology that will be published, rapid released in 2026. Sometime in the summer, I will be publishing them. There's 2 books, publishing them one after the other pretty quickly in succession. And I do plan to run a Kickstarter for a special edition collection. So the duology in one book in a hardback. And the plan is to publish it and exclusively release it with Kickstarter before book 1 is ever out. So if you back the Kickstarter, not only do you get this really pretty collector's edition of this book, or these books, because there will be 2, but you also get the entire collection before either book's release. So that's the plan. I am working on book 1, which is a vampire human romance, following my 2 characters. Have I publicly released their names? I don't know if I have. I have already published character profiles on Patreon. So if you are a Patreon member, you know the characters and some of the details about them. And I think on Monday, or was it today? I'd have to look. I am releasing the chapter headers, the design for the chapter headers. And then I am releasing chapter 1 and chapter 2 in the next few weeks to Patreon for $5 tier members. So that is coming very soon. So you can familiarize yourself with these characters in this book I've been talking about for a while. So that is what I am working on tonight. I will be starting, I should write that down, at 80,455 words. So here in a second, that is where we'll be starting sprint number 1 of 3. So Hello, I'm working on reorganizing my scenes and writing some of the scenes I skipped over. I hear ya. Occasionally, not very often, but occasionally I go back and add scenes like that to my stories. Um, I'll think of something that like fits better, or I don't know, just needs a little extra maybe. And I will also go back and add more, but I haven't done that in a little while. So hopefully you will get several of them written tonight. That is what I am hoping for you. In a minute, I'm going to plug in my earbuds and I will start writing. I have been listening lately. Maybe you didn't know this about me. When I write, I listen to music most all of the time. Occasionally, if I'm working like in a place with a lot of background noise, sometimes I won't just because I just need something happening, some kind of like white noise to either like reinforce the scene. So mood music. A lot of times what I do is I listen to the same song or the same couple of songs over and over and over that fit a particular scene just to keep me grounded in it. That is what I do most of the time. But sometimes I'll listen to no music if there's a lot of background noise that just helps set the scene. But lately, for Taming the Beast this weekend, what I have been listening to in honor of Wuthering Heights releasing, I have been listening to Chains of Love. I think that's the name, by Charlie XCS. Yep, Chains of Love, that's the one. So I know she had this album out all for Wuthering Heights, but that's the song that I have been listening to on repeat for the particular scene that I am in and getting ready to write. So sadly, though, for me, Valentine's Day is when the sort of the biggest conflict for my characters fell when I was writing that scene. And so there were a lot of really heavy emotions that I was writing on Valentine's Day, which was not intentional. It just happened to be like the worst time in these characters' little lives for their relationship. Happened to be the day that everybody else in the world is on like fancy dates or doing a lot of self-care, dating themselves. But that is where I am picking up tonight, is actually in the aftermath of that. So it's messy and the song just really fit the vibe for me. Everything about the vibes of Wuthering Heights kind of going along with like this tumultuous moment for these characters. Not that it's like Wuthering Heights, it's not, but that is where I am picking things up tonight, is the messy part of going into the third act. I am working on my first draft of my fourth book. Ooh, right now. Whoa, 24,000 words into it. That is awesome. First draft, fourth book though. Are they in a series or is this like a separate thing? I would be interested to know. I have a really hard time letting go of characters. And so I tend to write in, well, I don't even tend to. All of my books, but my first one was a series. And the first one was actually intended to be the start of a series. So I definitely write in a series. So this duology was a bit of a challenge for myself because even though they go together and there is an overarching plot between the two books, the big storyline is standalone. And that is kind of the first time I've written that and published that. So it'll be kind of a challenge to wrap everything up nice and pretty. I will say I'm not used to writing like this. If you know me and you've read my books, yes, I write some pretty steamy stuff. I write some pretty sexy things, especially nowadays with my vampires, but I still lean towards a slow burn. So you will see a lot of the characters before they ever get really intimate. You will get a lot of tension first because that is my favorite to write. And it's also my favorite to read, is a lot of the tension. The will they, won't they moment is my favorite thing to write. So with this book, Taming the Beast, I was kind of surprised that some of the steamier stuff did happen sooner, but it's strictly because it is a singleton. It is a single book. And so it makes sense that the romance tends to come sooner and we tend to get deeper. But I also am wondering if for that reason, this book may be a little bit longer than some of my others in a series. Like the Curses books are pretty quick reads. So I don't know. We will see. Amanda said they are all separated. So you write standalones. Ooh, I don't know why I have the hardest time writing like that, but I do, and I just can't let go. People always write in a series. Yes, I love it. I love it. I really think, even like as a reader, I think you get really attached to the characters when you read a series, and so the emotions, the stakes and the payoff feel greater sometimes for me. And I know it can still be just as great with a standalone, and I've definitely read those books, but there's just something about sticking with characters for such a long journey and then seeing the setback like 3 books in that just, like, wrecks you. Okay, we are 11 minutes into this stream, so we need to start moving into our first sprint of the night. If you are brand new here, welcome. My name is Amy Prokopis. I guess I should have started with that. Amy Prokopis. I write paranormal, romance, and romantasy, always with a bit of spice. And that's me. We go live every Sunday, unless there's some special event. We go live every single Sunday at 8:30 Central Standard Time, and we do writing sprints, also known as productivity sprints. We will do 3. So when we do a sprint, we will do 25 minutes dedicated work time. I won't play any music. It'll be quiet. I will put a timer for 25 minutes up on the screen. Let me go ahead and stick that up there. So there will be a timer to help count down, and it will keep track for you. It will also make a sound on your screen when the time is up. But otherwise, I'm going to be silent. I prefer when I'm watching streams not to have music going because I play my own. And so I will mute them anyway. So that is how I conduct my own streams. So we will do 3 rounds of 25 minutes each so that you can write, do laundry, whatever productivity it is, dedicate yourself to 25 minutes of it. And then we will come back in between and we will chat about all things bookish. Check in, see how we all did. And yeah, sometimes I give really exciting, fun updates in between. All right, so that's that. I'm going to plug in my AirPods in just a second. I don't know about you guys, but I always like to have some kind of a drink, and tonight's a new one. So normally, if it's not coffee or tea during writing sessions, it'll be usually the orange Coke Zero. I hate orange Coke, which is the craziest thing. I don't like anything orange flavored, but the Coke Zero orange is my favorite. They didn't have it in stock at our local store, and so we picked up the Coke Zero cherry, which is actually pretty good. I like a good cherry Coke. It's been a really long time since I've had one, but I've never had a Coke Zero with cherry. So this is pretty good, and this is my drink of choice for the night. Do you like to have snacks and drinks and stuff while you are writing? My favorite is to have a glass of wine, but I don't do that when we have writing streams. So tonight it's the orange Coke. All right. So 25 minutes on the clock. We are going to jump in now. Drop in the chat where you are starting. Whoops, if I can spell it right. I am starting sprint number 1 at 80,455 words, hoping to get a ton done. So here we go in 3, 2, 1, sprint. All right. That is the end of sprint number 1. How did we all do? I wrote, what was it? 479 words during sprint number 1. I'm feeling very accomplished. I just dropped that in the chat. Just help track myself. That was a pretty good sprint for me. Honestly, close to 500 is a good sprint for the 25 minutes we typically do. So I'm feeling really good about the progress I made. Hopefully, I will be able to do that for the next few, because that would put me over 1,000 words for tonight, which is amazing. We have 405. I don't know. I was going to say 401, 405 words. That is amazing. Congrats, everybody, on our progress. All right. If you are newer here, you may not know a ton about this project. Honestly, I haven't really said a lot. Oh my gosh, Amanda had 745. That is amazing. That's a lot. Wow. I also, gosh, I got so excited I dropped my pen over here. So if you're new here, you may not know, and I haven't actually put out a ton of information about this new project. I've announced the title of book 1. I have not announced the title of the second book in this duology, just because since I'm doing like a publication series here on YouTube, I'm actually discussing a little bit more just in those videos. It's like a singular place where I discuss the different phases that I'm in of publishing a book. So I have been withholding putting out the title for book 2 until I am ready to start that video. I already have a book trailer for this duology though up on YouTube. So if you want to watch like more of a synopsis, if you want a synopsis of like the gist of the entire series, it is The Billionaire Beasts of New York. It follows 2 men. They're both billionaires in New York City. They run their own companies, and together they run The Beast, which is a supernatural nightclub exclusively for supernatural beings, but it's even more exclusive than just that because you have to have a key to get into it. Essentially, you have to be invited in to this sort of underground world, but it is a safe place for the supernatural and New York City. And so they both co-run this underground nightclub. And in the first book, which is Taming the Beast, the one I'm writing tonight, the first character, one of these billionaires, is a vampire. And in his story, we kick off with a human girl who accidentally finds her way into this supernatural nightclub. She is supposed to be going out with her friend. She is a professional photographer, and she's supposed to be going out with him after a photo shoot they collaborated on together. And instead, she gets the address a little bit wrong, stumbles down this dark alley after 2 people that look like they're also going to a nightclub, and one of them drops their key, and that is how she gets into the nightclub. And she's human, so she's clearly not supposed to be there. The rule is not to reveal yourself to the supernatural world. And so he spots her. He knows that the rule is very clear because there's just one, and he has to kill her. And once he gets to her, he is very surprised because she's not afraid in any way of him. She's a very stubborn, very strong-willed woman, self-made, and so she's not fazed by him and his brashness, and it really surprises him, and he is immediately unable to kill her, which is new for him. He's kind of known as if the 2 billionaires were to play good cop, bad cop, he would be the bad cop every time. He is the enforcer of the rules. He's the muscle, essentially. And so he now has the secrets. And in order to also abide by the rules, because he has now broken his one rule that rules over the supernatural world of New York City, it can't be found out that he has also broken his rule So he hides her away in what starts kind of as this captive situation and very quickly, obviously, develops into a romance. It is very fun. I've had a really good time writing it. It is the spiciest book I have written. There's a lot of steam in it. It's been so fun. So that is Taming the Beast, the first book in the Billionaire Beasts of New York. That's other billionaire character. So there's the vampire and the human, which is book 1. And I have kind of released sort of the dynamic of book 2, which is a werewolf and a guardian. So if you've read my Curse of Wings series so far, or if you read Guardians of the Sixth Gate, then you'll kind of get an idea for what guardians are. It is still explained throughout this duology though, but they essentially are supernatural beings. They're immortal. They are given basically like superpowers. They only have one superpower. And as a group, they are supposed to guard this entrance, this gate to the Shadowlands, which is like the supernatural afterlife. And the goal for them is to seal the gate so that all of the demons and creatures cannot come into the mortal world. And so that is their ultimate goal, is to seal the gate. So they're kind of the enemies in this scenario. But that is book 2, is a werewolf guardian romance. So there's a bit of enemies to lovers there, which is my favorite, I think, to read and write. So that's the book. That was a bit more of a longer spiel than I anticipated, but and I just pitched it kind of on the fly. Honestly, I haven't talked about the whole the whole duology in a little while, but sounds very interesting. Thank you. I hope people will find it interesting. I know it's not going to be for everybody. It is going to be they're going to be pretty spicy for one. So there's that, but I know that paranormal stuff's not everybody's jam. So it's not going to be for everyone, and that's fine. But I'm having a good time writing it. And that's really all that matters. So there is that. So feel free to drop kind of the gist of what you all are writing in the comments if you would like. I would be very interested to know. It's a lot of fun to keep track of people's projects in the past in these live streams. It's been really fun to like keep track of each other and see where we all are in writing progress for our books, to see them all come together. That has been really fun. So let me know. I'd be very interested to know. All right. I think we're about ready for the second sprint of the evening. I'm thinking about blowing out this candle behind me. I don't know. I can't tell if it's the candle or if it's because this cherry Coke has some of the same notes as this candle, but I'm feeling like there's a lot of cherry scented-esque sweet stuff in this room. So I may blow it out. We'll see. Fated Mates, Found Family Urban Fantasy. Ooh, Fated Mates is the trope for my Guardians of the Sixth Gate trilogy. It is a completed trilogy. I wrote Fated Mates for that, and that was really, really fun. I like that one a lot too. That would be a fun one to come back to. Let's see. 25 minutes on the clock. I am going to continue writing. I am at 80,934 words now. So hopefully I can at least write another 450 or more. We will see. I'm in a good spot in this scene. Okay. Time's up on the clock. 25 minutes in 3, 2, 1, sprint. Okay. Turn on the music for a hot second. Okay. I did not actually tally where I was because I was in the middle of a sentence. Um, I am at 81,546 words, which is oopsie minus 80. Oh, good Lord. I wrote 612 words, which is amazing. So that means that for the stream so far, I have written 1,091 words. Okay, we're good. Okay. I wrote 612 words in sprint number 2. I feel really good. Okay. Whew, I'm in a good place. I think I'm actually at the end of this chapter, just about. I'm wrapping up sort of the nitty-gritty, really difficult parts. And then I will be moving into kind of the next, definitely into the final third of the book. Okay. Sorry. I'm clearly still in writing mode. Whew, I was in the middle of a really good scene. Okay. Mostly rereading that sprint, but finally got to a scene and got 249. That is really good for rereading a good part of 25 minutes. That's a lot. So congrats. Congrats to everybody. I think we're all doing super tonight. I know the last couple weeks I've had slower writing nights, the last few Write With Me live streams anyway. So I am really pleased with how tonight is going. I don't know how much later I will stay up. Maybe just to finish this chapter and start the next, which I think is about where I will be for this next sprint. The next is the final sprint, third and final. So I should be at the end of the writing session for tonight. It's going to be great. I am so excited. I think if I finish this chapter and start the next, that puts me in a really good spot to start tomorrow, because the way I structure my week, I do morning writing sessions, which has actually become my most productive writing time. I don't write in the evenings like I used to. I used to exclusively write in the evenings because, one, I'm a night owl. I get really creative at night and I prefer to stay up at night and work. So that's when I prefer to work anyway. So I used to only do my writing at night after my day job and on the weekends. And now that I don't have to start work at 7:45 in the morning, I start at 9. So I get a section of my morning to write, which is really nice. So I actually am really productive with that time because I wake up, I use my time as I'm getting ready to get in the headspace to write. I listen to like whatever song I have on repeat or the mood music I've been listening to get in the scene on the way into work as I do my commute and drop off my kiddo at school. And then by the time I get to work, I am like ready to go. So I sit down and I get so much done in that time. So yeah, it's great. Oh, are you working on the first book? I am. So there will be 2. I'm working on the first one, Taming the Beast. I have not released the title of the second book yet, but as soon as I finish drafting this one, I usually give myself a little bit of downtime between projects. I move into the editing phase and I usually take a bit of time off and slow things down. But in this case, I think I'm going to go ahead and move right into writing book 2, just because it'll be real seamless between the two. So I am writing book 1. I'm planning to rapid release them. So I will be writing them now in the spring, but I don't plan on releasing them until the summer. I'm going to hold off on releasing the first one, and I want to release them like a few weeks apart. I don't know that I want to release them like a full month apart, but it'll be something like that. Yeah, and I want the special edition to be early. So Amanda got 614 words. Amazing, guys. I have never written a duology, but now that I am starting to, and I've done some of the planning, I already have an idea for another one. I am super excited about it. Actually, I sat down yesterday, and as I'm listening to this, I'm listening to, Chains of Love by Charlie XCX. That is the song I'm listening to on repeat right now for this moment in Taming the Beast. And it really inspired not just this scene, but I had a whole idea for a whole other duology. This one would be much more of a romantasy, and I could already see like how I could develop this world, have more stories to it than just this duology, but I already think I have another in the works. It is like the perfect middle ground, right, between a standalone and a series. And I've done just about every other like popular configuration other than that at this point. My first book was supposed to be a series, but it ended up being standalone. And I have done interconnected standalones. My winter, this series up here, the colorful ones, that is an interconnected standalone series. So there is like an overarching plot between the three, but you can read them out of order. My PA actually read book 2, what is technically book 2, this blue one, Frozen as Friends. She read it first, and it's technically book 2 in the trilogy. So I've done interconnected standalones. That was a lot of fun. And now that I've written and planned a duology, it just feels like such a really easy structure. I mean, you get like book 1 is like part 1, book 2 is part 2. Although for this series, it's not really that way because we don't follow the same characters. We do, but not from their personal stories, just the overarching story. So, but I can already see an entire world for a whole different one. So who knows, I may just be publishing a bunch of duologies in the future. I tend to write trilogies. See, I've also done a trilogy. Where is it? It's somewhere over here. This one, Guardians of the Sixth Gate. My Guardian series is a trilogy. It's a completed trilogy. So I've also written a trilogy. It's also an easy structure to follow. You have beginning, middle, and end, literally, in the overarching, the A plot or the plot, whatever plot structure you use. Never actually written one though. Yeah, this is a first for me too, but I've really enjoyed it so far. So I actually, yesterday when I had that whole idea, I plotted out. I already have it in my head. I have it all developed, and it developed so fast in my brain. I couldn't get it all down on paper. So it's still in here. And that tends to be the way I work. If thoughts and ideas stick around long enough, as I've like just been thinking them over, if I'm still thinking about it, or more likely, if I still remember it in a few weeks, usually it's a good idea. And then I start to put it on paper and plot it out. So that's kind of the case with this one, I think. But oh my gosh, I sat down and I already had the first 2 books like fully fleshed out for the most part, to my knowledge. So yeah, I have never written one either, but I don't know, might be my new addiction. Is Guardians YA. Yes. I always tell people it kind of falls in like the elder side of YA. It's not new adult. I would say it's not new adult just because the main characters are in their senior year of high school. So the entire trilogy follows their senior year. So you get like fall, winter, spring through the 3 books. So just for that reason, I consider it a YA book. It is steamy. There's no on-page romantic scenes. There is off-page. So there is like allusions, like there's reference to moments. But there's nothing on page as far as like sexual content goes. So I do consider it a young adult book. But talking with different readers of it, I have a lot of adult readers that also enjoy it because it is more grown up than I think what some people expect a young adult book to be. Like I said, they're turning 18. So they're all in their senior year. So they're technically like legal adults by the end of the series, but it's young adulthood, I would say. So yes. I do have like a nice like readership though that are not a young adult audience for that one, which surprised me. So when I jumped into writing steamier books, it was actually somewhat of an easier transition than what I thought it would be. I thought it would be like a really stark jump, but actually a lot of the readers I had through this series were all older anyway. And so it was real easy, I think, for people to come on board pushing more of the boundary with some of my romance in the series. Okay. I think it is a good time for sprint 3. This is the final sprint of the night. We'll do another 25 minutes. I am hoping to wrap up the end of this chapter. I think this has actually gone a little bit long, so I'm hoping to wrap it up kind of quickly and then start the next chapter. That way we can start fresh with a really good scene in the morning. I heard somebody, I think it was another author who was talking, I don't know where I heard this, but they were saying that they really like to end writing sessions kind of with some tension for themselves. They like to end right in the middle of something exciting to write. That way they are excited to come back to it and pick it back up. It just keeps their momentum going. So I thought that was really interesting. And I have sort of found that to be true for myself also. So I really like to finish things up though. So I like to finish the moment I'm in or the scene, but then I start the next one. So just enough so that I kind of feel that like pull to continue it. And that's when I have to tell myself, no, this is good. We're going to come back to it. So I do similar now that I've heard that. And I forget who said it, but I had heard it online. I think it was on Instagram. I think maybe in like a reel or something. Somebody had said that in their writing process, that they know that they're kind of done with the night when they are in the middle of something good. I don't know. The ADHDer inside of me doesn't like that because I like to finish things or else I'm afraid I won't come back to it appropriately. So I'm always afraid if I don't wrap up a scene, I'm going to come back to it and I'll struggle with being in the moment again. But I have not found that to be true. I actually have found that it means that I'm like in hyper focus for a really long time though. Okay. We need to get into the final sprint. It is almost 10 o'clock here where I am. So we need to wrap things up. So sprint number 3, last one of the night. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, that scared me. All right, I have not tallied yet. Again, I'm in the middle of a sentence. Oh my goodness. I didn't even write down my starting word count. It's a good thing I keep track of that as I go. I can just tell I wrote a lot. I just feel it. Okay. I am at 81,971 words to end off our session. So that was actually not as many, 425 words for that sprint, but that puts me at, what did I do for? So I wrote 1,516 words for the live stream. So I'm going to put that in the chat. 1,516 words during tonight's live stream. I am very, very excited. 316 words. That is awesome. Oh my goodness. I hope you all have just as productive a week as we have had tonight. So that kind of brings us to the outro / plans for the week. I kind of started, I think, the night by talking a little bit about this. I am really, really hoping to write a lot this week. I am hoping to get, I want to get close to 2,000 a day, I think. I really would love if I could finish this book by Monday, and I don't know if I can. I know the momentum is there because I'm really excited. And then looking at the final chapters in my outline, I am really excited. I know exactly where we're going. I know exactly some of the moments. So it's very doable, but will I have the time between everything is the big question. So we shall see. I'm really hopeful. You guys have done amazing. 920 total for the live stream. 441. Ooh, you wrote a lot. 1,800. Monday as in the next Monday. So I have all of this week. Sorry. I'm hoping to finish by next Monday is the plan. I did make that kind of complicated. So this week I want to finish the book. Don't know how doable it is because I do have several chapters left. So I don't think I'll be able to accomplish it, but I want to get as much as I can. Yeah, I made that really confusing. Oh, okay. So I have a little bit more to wrap up. So I am writing for just a little more tonight, but this is the end of our live stream. If you are new, make sure to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss any more. I go live every single Sunday, but I also post weekly vlogs with everything about how the week has gone and everything I've been up to. And I try to post an extra sort of sit down video a week where I talk about other writing related things. A lot of times they are sort of like experiments. I am late getting my monthly marketing plan up on YouTube. So again, I think I will put it out. I actually have everything drafted and written out to discuss it for a video. So I think I will maybe film that tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm not for sure. It won't take me very long. And just put it on YouTube, even though it'll be kind of later. It'll be like mid-February. But I have, I think, finally kind of figured out a sweet spot as far as planning at the top of the month. So I think I will go ahead and put that out. But I usually do the vlog, we go live, and then there's a lot of times a sit-down video in between. So definitely join and give a like below if you haven't already, because it really, really helps out in the algorithm. And of course, all of my books and social media are in the description box below. They're linked there. So check that out too. And that's pretty much it. So Thank you so, so much for joining me tonight. It was a lot of fun. I hope you all have a very good week. And I hope we can all get a lot accomplished. I think we're going to be doing amazing things. So thank you for joining me. Read books, be kind, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.